October 18th, 1:08 a.m. District Court, Defendant Lobby Number 3. Mr. Powers? Yes. Tell me straight. Were you really in your dressing room? You didn't go to the studio. I didn't go to the studio. I was sleeping, honest. So, who was the Steel Samurai in the security photo? How should I know? The Steel Samurai costume was off the corner of the dressing room. Anyone could have walked in and taken it, really. What? You should take better care of that stuff. I couldn't imagine anyone wanting to steal a Steel Samurai costume. So where does this leave me? It doesn't look good. You're the only likely suspect right now. Nick! What are you going to do? First, we play for more time. We'll start targeting someone else that could conceivably have done it. Right. And I'll take them so long to shoot us down that we'll get another day. Right. But if we pick the wrong person, we might lose on the spot. You don't sound very optimistic. I'm not optimistic at all, actually. Hey, Nick. It's time. Okay, let's go. What does that mean? Please don't sigh like that. Court will now reconvene for the trial of Mr. Will Powers. Mr. Edgeworth, will you present the prosecution's thoughts on the matter? The prosecution's thoughts are simple. Nothing has changed. The only other person who went to the studios was a boy roughly 10 years of age. The photos we do have may not be hard evidence, but there is still no one else that could have committed this crime. I call for the verdict of guilty for the defendant, Mr. Will Powers. Very well, Mr. Wright, your thoughts? The defense disagrees with the prosecution's claims. There is another person who could have committed this crime. Order! Interesting. Let us hear who you have in mind. However, be aware that this court does not look kindly on accusing the innocent. If you accuse someone who is obviously innocent, you will be penalized. Right, great. As if the stakes weren't high enough. So who was this other person other than Mr. Powers that could have committed the murder? It was a security lady, Wendy Oldbag. Who? The Steel Samurai is dragging his leg in this picture. That means whoever was in the suit knew about the morning's injury. Maybe because they had been watching the action scene run through. There was only one person other than Powers and Hammer who knew about the injury. The security lady, Oldbag. Wow, whippersnapper! Order! Is this true, Oldbag? Oldbag? That's Miss Oldbag to you. Miss Oldbag was standing guard alone at the gate entrance. She was by herself. In other words, she has no alibi. She could have briefly left her post to steal the Steel Samurai costume. then slipped into Studio 1, the scene of the murder. Why would she go through the trouble of wearing the Steel Samurai costume? Simple, Your Honor. She knew the camera at the gate would take her picture. If she was in his costume, she could point the finger at Mr. Powers. I see. Excellent deduction. Deductive reasoning, Mr. Wright. Oh yeah, right there. Sherlock Holmes 2, baby. That's odd. Is this the part where Edgeworth pounces? Doesn't he usually jump with an objection and some kind of damning evidence? Well, Mr. Edgeworth, does the prosecution have an opinion on this matter? The prosecution has no meaningful objections at this time. What? What's that supposed to mean? Oh, so you all think I did it. Is that it? Edgy boy, don't just sit there and do something. What's my move? Maybe now's my chance. Press further. The very same reasoning that makes Mr. Powers a suspect in this case can be used to cast doubt on Miss Oldbag's actions on that day. But why would I do something so horrible to poor Hammer? You forget that Mr. Powers lacks a clear motive too. Indeed. That did it. Now Windbag is one of the suspects. No hard feelings, I hope. Wait just a minute. What about the other person who went to the studio? The boy! The one whose photo I erased. He's only a grade schooler though. As you said, 2nd or 3rd grade, was it? That doesn't matter. When I was that age, I could pin my old lady in 10 seconds tops. Your thoughts, Mr. Wright? That boy is not the killer. What? How can you be so sure? Or is it be nice to kids and mean to your elders day, whippersnapper? I have proof. Proof? Indeed. Let's see the proof, Mr. Wright. You have proof that shows the boy could not have committed the crime. He would need a key card to get in. The scene of the murder, as we all know, was Studio 1. However, you need a key card to enter Studio 1. How could a boy with no formal relation to the studio have a key card? I see. Well, would the witness care to comment on it? The Windbag's speechless. This has got to be the first. Got to be a first. Very well. The court will suspend proceedings on the current trial for today. Mr. Edgeworth, please find out more about your witness, Miss Windy. What was her name? Something Oldbag, Your Honor. Then the prosecution will look further into this Oldbag before we continue. That is all. Court is adjourned. Wait a second! I'm not going to sit here while you run off barking up the wrong tree. Me! I'm talking. Oh great. Stop the presses. The Windbag wants to talk. Miss Oldbag! What is this all about? Have you omitted something from your testimony? Actually, if you must know, there's something I was told not to talk about. No, not to talk about? By whom? Huh? You mean it wasn't Edgeworth who told her not to talk? What? Well, testify! My lips were sealed. Global Studios want to keep quiet about something. There were some other people at the studios on the day of the murder. They said they had nothing to do with it, see? So they told me to just pretend they hadn't been at the studio that day. But if you're going to accuse me, I'm not letting them get away scot-free. Miss Oldbag! This is crucial information. Why did you keep this from the court until now? Ain't you been listening? They told me to shut my trap. And I always do what I'm told. No, this isn't a bad dream, Your Honor. Witness the power of the old bag. Mr. Wright, your cross-examination. Then who were the people? Who were these people? Well, the director and producer for starters. Then the director? We should have known something was fishy. How could they have done a run-through of their action scene without a director? Of course! Yes, well, I was surprised no one asked about it. So where were these people? The director was in the employee area all morning for the run-through. He joined the producer around lunchtime, and they had a meeting after that. Where? In the Studio 2 trailer. Studio 2? There was a Studio 2. Well, if you look at the guide map, there it is. You go through the gate and all the way to the left. The path where the monkey's head was fallen over. Well, Mr. Wright, would you like to continue the cross-examination? I think I've already asked all my questions. Take a break. Take a break. Your Honor, we have learned there were others at the Global Studios on the day in question. Director and the producer, some bigwigs were all present. Yet, as we stand here, they have not been questioned. I hold that it is impossible to declare a verdict on the defendant, Mr. Powers. The court acknowledges the defense's point. The prosecution will gather more information about the witness, Miss Oldbag. The more information about these other people we have just been told of. I understand, Your Honor. This ends today's proceedings in the trial of Mr. Will Powers. That is all. This court is adjourned. October 18th, 104 District Court, Defendant Lobby Number 3. Thank you so much, Mr. Wright. I was right to ask you to defend me. Aw, it's nothing. Or should I? Well, we'll be going down to the studio to do more investigating. We have to find out more about this director and producer. They'll be turning up in the next trial as witnesses for certain. So, now's my chance to get material for cross-examination. So, Nick, have you figured out just who it was in the Steel Samurai costume? Could it really have been Old Windbag? What do you think, Mr. Powers? I don't think it was her, really. Neither do I, Nick. Yeah, I know. Look, I was just buying time back there. Someone had to be the bad guy for a bit to take the pressure off Mr. Powers. poor old Winback. I feel kind of sorry for her. Well, she wasn't winning any points in there, with or without my accusation. Okay, let's get down to the studios. Right. We'll be back to visit you soon. Thanks. Thanks, guys. Dear God, get that man some decongestant or something. What? I feel like saving right here.